Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the D-Tech Valley. And today we're going to look at something to do with laser engraving and laser cutting. So with the holidays arriving, I've been doing some Christmas patterns with my laser machines. And in particular, I've been having quite some work from this one client who loves her designs in colorful African fabric. So this video is just a slideshow of some of the designs that I've made over the holidays, and probably give you a couple of tips on what you can do in case you want to make similar designs. Okay, to start off, I'm assuming you have a laser cutter with you. So the laser cutting machine that I'm using in the workshop is mostly the Creality Falcon 2 Pro. It has a 20-watt laser head. Of course, there are also other higher watts laser heads that you can use. For instance, this is the 60-watt laser head. I'm not sure if there is anything higher than the 60-watt for the Creality Pro. Apart from the Creality Pro, I also have the X-Tool D1 Pro with a 10-watt laser head. I got some couple of orange longer machines, also the Alfero and a couple of others. But this work was specifically made with the Creality Falcon 2 Pro 20-watt laser head. Okay, if you want to make such a pattern, first things first, assuming you have your machine ready, of course, the next thing will be to create the design that you want. There are many websites online where you can find designs for your laser cutting projects. My favorite ones are 3axis.co, and also if you check on thingiverse.com, you're going to find some couple of laser cutting files that you can use. Of course, if you're a designer, you can create your own files depending on what you want to achieve or whatever the client is trying to bring to life. So these designs were made in Illustrator, and then they were converted to SVG and then imported into Lightburn. I usually use Lightburn for all my projects because I have found it to be the most user-friendly laser cutting or laser engraving software. Plus, it's compatible with many of the machines that are on the market. So I will recommend anyone, if you're just getting started, probably you should check out Lightburn. Of course, there's also another option of the Laser GRBL, but I don't have experience with that software, so I just leave it at that. After creating the design in Illustrator or in your favorite graphics editing software, you can import it into Lightburn and get ready to start cutting your patterns. Now, I would like us to talk about the materials. So for this project, I was using strawboard. So strawboard is just a type of heavy-duty paper that you can make at home or you can buy at your local depot store. So what happens is I take the African fabric and glue it on the strawboard. When I've glued it, I'll give it some time for it to dry. I've realized anytime I want to cut a material that has some glue in it, there's usually a problem with the laser beam passing through the material. The glue makes the laser beam, it obstructs the laser beam, and apart from that, it leads to a lot of burn marks. So if you're going to glue the material on your strawboard, just make sure you give it enough time to dry. I usually just let the materials dry out in the sun, and after a couple of maybe half an hour, I come and work on them. But apart from strawboard, you can also You can also glue the fabric on wood or any other materials that your laser cutter can cut. But gluing it on wood, I think it would be a waste of material unless you're really making something that you want to be very, very durable. So for this project, I used straw board and I think it worked out just fine. So for the straw board, after gluing the material on the straw board, you just have to put them in your laser machine and let the machine do the cutting. Of course, depending on the size of your straw board, you might need to resize it so that it fits in the bed of your machine. And then just make sure that it stays on the bed flat, because in case the head hits the straw board, then your patterns can be misaligned and you end up wasting your materials. So that is something that you might want to check. Usually when I put the materials on the honeycomb bed, I have to secure them with sellotape or just any tape. Also have a couple of tires that I use just to keep the materials down. Just make sure that your laser head is not going to touch your material, or else your design can be disrupted and you end up wasting your material. So when the laser machine cuts the material, that's of course the easy process. Just keep an eye on the machine so that nothing out of the ordinary happens. And when the cutting is done, you'll have to do some post-processing. I usually realize if I put a lot of power, then the edges end up getting charred. And this gives me a lot of work during the post-production process. After the cutting, I usually just take a brush, a clean brush, and lightly brush on the sides as well as on all the openings of the designs to remove the burn marks as well as any chaff that might be there. So that is usually the post-production process. And in case you find out some parts of the fabric have gotten out, because they usually do, then you can just glue them back inside. And with that, you'll have finished your project, and I'm sure your client will be happy. So basically, that's an overview of how I go about designing the snowflakes and cutting them with my machine and finally delivering to the client. I hope you enjoyed these colorful snow patterns. And if you want an in-depth tutorial where you can see me doing the step-by-step process, let me know in the comment section below and I will see what I can do. Of course, if you found the video helpful, I'll appreciate if you give it a like and share it with someone that you feel will find it helpful. Until next time, keep making, keep laser engraving, and keep doing great stuff.